What's up guys, Owen here. This is my first vlog in a new series called The Sociological Perspective. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. For the vlogs of my sociological perspective vids, I'll be collabing with Hans and Clay. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, I'm here with Hans and Clay now, and we're gonna dive deeper into the sociological perspective. Take it away, Hans.
Thanks, OG Kargs. Yeah, so the sociological perspective is a super important part of sociology today. By definition, it's the understanding that human behavior by placing it within a broader context. This is basically looking at different societies as a whole and linking their society, but how they react with other societies' work.
The sociological perspective is important to sociologists because it helps them understand why humans act the way they do and why they not only function in society but how they react to the other ways that societies work.
Heck yeah! That's why today we will be going out in public interviewing people on what they know about the sociological perspective and all the fun things that go with it. Let's go! Alright guys, here we are at Oconomowoc High School selecting people at random for our interviews. Part 1, Symbolic Interaction.
Hey! Do you mind if we take a minute out of your day to ask you a few questions about symbolic interaction in sociology?
I mean, I guess so.
Sure, cool. Well, exactly. We'll start off with a simple question. What is symbolic interactionism?
Isn't that when symbols are used in a society to establish meaning and communicate to each other?
Exactly, my friend. But not any kind of symbol. These symbols have a deeper meaning.
To give you some perspective, we'll take the divorce rate. Symbolic interactionism isn't necessarily literal symbols for divorce, but things with deeper meanings such as the love symbol, meaning of children, and meaning of parenthood.
Oh, I always just assumed when people got divorced, they just hate each other. That's what happened to my best friend a few years ago.
I'm glad you brought that up. The fact that you assume that there was no deeper meaning behind it and that there was only one way to think of it is called bias. When maintaining a sociological perspective, it's important to try and stray away from bias because that can really affect on how we look at and judge things. To be biased is learning towards one-sided as opposed as being neutral.
Going along with the idea of bias, when you're looking at things through the sociological perspective, you need to remain objective. Objectivity is keeping total neutrality. This means that when you or other societies and cultures try not to look at things through your ideas and your influence of what you think and remain unbiased. Being unbiased lets you achieve the sociological perspective.
Oh, I see. I think I'm starting to understand this more.
Awesome. Our job here is done. Thanks for your time. Our Part 1 Symbolic Interactionism is done. Come watch us take on Part 2, Functionalism.
Hey, what's up, boss? Do you have any idea what functionalism is?
No idea, boss man.
Functionalism is the sociological idea that everything in society serves a purpose, even bad stuff, bro.
That is epic. I would like to do some research on my own about that.
Great idea. Research is critical to any part of the sociological perspective because you always need to know your research on the social world in order to understand people or a culture. Research is the scientific observations of the world.
That's so true. Research helps you a lot to understand things that you may not have known before you experienced yourself.
Oh, that reminds me. Another important thing to remember before you go somewhere you aren't familiar with is to always put yourself in the other person's shoes to try to understand things from their perspective.
You're right. That's called verstehen, which is a German word for understanding. It's basically a way to understand, to grasp by insight, and putting yourself into the shoes of others.
This is super important with functionalism because it may seem like some people are unimportant or insignificant in a culture, but that is not the case. Put yourself in the shoes of someone else in the culture, and you might see what somebody else it does.
seeing as we're in such a great conversation, let's just bring up the conflict theory as well. I bet you've heard that one as well. Maybe, maybe not.
It does, but I just can't put my finger on it.
Conflict theory is theoretical framework where society is viewed or composed of groups that are competing for scarce resources. So we look at the conflict theory, we ask ourselves a couple of questions.
Let me guess, what we start with? The competitors?
You got it, dude. The three main questions we ask are, who is competing?
What are they competing for?
How does the powerful group stay in power?
Oh, this all makes sense now. So let me know if I'm getting this right. When it comes to marijuana, for example, the marijuana users and people against the drug are competing. They're competing for legalization, and the government stays in power because more people are against drug use, even though it could be useful.
Exactly. You catch on fast, bro.
Alright, so now that you have got a better understanding for these things, there is one more critically important thing you need to know.
No matter where you go or who you talk to, always keep your values, help you define what is good and bad. Values are critical to people everywhere.
Although you have your values, which is critical, remember to remain objective whenever you think of the sociological perspective. Values are critical, but don't let them affect the way you see others and don't be too quick to judge. By staying totally neutral, you are one step closer to achieving the sociological perspective.
Wow, guys, you really helped change my perspective on a lot of things today. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Once you achieve bias, objectivity, research,
Verstehen.
and values, you have achieved the sociological perspective. Alright guys, so that wraps up our video for today on the sociological perspective. I'm Owen.
I'm Hans.
And I'm Clay.
We'll see you next time on the new series, The Sociological Perspective. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Affect you. God.
Oh, dude, I see Jacob, dude, I can't do it.
What's up, Jake?
Objectivity, research,
Research first ahead.
Wait. Okay, ready? I wasn't ready. Ready?
To grasp by insight and putting yourself in the shoes of others. That's literally what it says. That's literally what it says.
Wait, what am I saying?
Awesome.
Am I saying awesome?
That's so.
Wait.